Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to another Mili reaction. Today we have the Let's Lament version of In Hell We Live Lament. This, I believe, was the first song, the original version was the first song I had heard in this pocket of like Mili, Limbus Company, Library of Ruina music. So I had to go back and listen to it just like last time and really like regain the memories of where I was at that time and re-experience the song on its own. I literally just got done just sitting and listening to it, reading the lyrics and thinking it over. So now I get to hear what this version is going to be. And just like the last one, I'm expecting it to be completely unique, especially considering this one is about 2 minutes longer. So I'm sure it's going to be a little bit different. So without further ado, let's go. We go in the acoustic path again. I feel like that's probably going to be all of them. I should probably just assume that from now on.
I walked down a path leading to the past, stole from the tree's hands, a regretter's friend, the forbidden fruit. I bite off the skin, chewing on its tender flesh.
So far, not much different other than the, whole vibe.
Became the me who you despise. We swallowed the time, let us rewind. Lament, if you wanted me to speak, if you wanted me to think, if you wanted me to carry on our dreams.
Just like last time, this section hits in a different way. All right, they didn't let that energy disappear. I was kind of wondering if they were going to do something different here. Ooh. I really, just like last time again, loving this piano arrangement. It's so creative. Ooh. Speaking of. Her voice kind of made me laugh there. The accent kind of got to me. Yeah, it's a lot softer, obviously. This is definitely more of a lament than the last one was in just tone. The emotional power in this arrangement is more aggressive, but like more aggressively sad. It's almost like they're pleading. Whew. A very crushy piano at the bottom there. Man. This piano arrangement, though, seriously. It's insanely creative. Really? It took me a second to realize what they were doing there. I didn't expect them to actually sing that part, the backing vocal part from the original. That's really neat. Is that it? Okay, I was like, there's more to this. It's not done yet. They weren't gonna end that high on the energy. No way. That pause had a lot of impact. Dissonance in the bass note there. Yo. So there's no way that was 5 minutes. It felt like I was sitting there for both an hour and also 2 minutes, and I want to hear more of it. That it almost broke space-time. I don't know what's going on in my head there. I kind of forgot that I was doing a video here for a second. There was a spot somewhere near the middle where I realized I was forgetting to say anything, and I should probably say something, so I said something. But I guess that's kind of the effect this song has. There's something about it that just strangely affects your mind in a way. Like, you're focusing so much on what they're saying and reflecting on the lyrics and the evolution of the piano underneath it. Again, beautiful arrangement. There was so much dynamic range in that song. Every single little thing that they did on the piano felt like a whole new concept. It was just a freestyle of ideas that carried every single emotional wave through like it was nothing. It was so smooth. I don't know how else to phrase that, because as not a pianist, I don't fully understand how they managed to make that song feel so full. Like, even when it had that spot where I was wondering if the song was done for a second there, it felt like there was still more to come, and I could sense that, but I also... I was not fully positive, and there's definitely something to be said about that in the psychological side of this song. It was such a pregnant pause. It had so much weight carried on it. You couldn't tell if it was done. And if that isn't an exact reflection of what this song makes you feel anyway, I don't know what is. That is such a cool way to space out that track. I mean, yeah, of course, it was cool to hear them singing that choral part from the original song, and it definitely took me a second to realize that they were doing that, because I just thought it was the normal lyrics for a second. But having all of that change in that last section really confused my mind in a way that I did not anticipate in the slightest. For the entire song, it was more or less a replica when it came down to the vocals and the energy they were doing on the vocal side. And you can tell that there were definitely different phrasings and such throughout. It still had the same general purpose. It was still trying to complete the same mission. You know, it was doing its job. But then at the end, it just changed almost entirely, and that caught me off guard in a lot of cool ways. I actually, just between the last cut and this cut, went back to listen to that language at the end, and I'm not sure if that's an actual language. It sounded kind of Latin at first, and I was like, okay, it's probably Latin, so I just assumed it was, but parts of it also sound Italian, but it's also like not any Italian I've ever heard spoken. So I'm not sure what that is. Maybe it's an example of somebody writing a language for the game or for the song specifically. I'm not positive on that, but I'm also not multilingual in any way, so maybe I just don't know this sound of this language, whatever it is. It must be from that area, if anything. But it also kind of sounded like an amalgamation of a bunch of things that I had heard, especially like South European languages, so I'm not sure. I'm just gonna leave it at that, though, when it comes to the language thing. And re-listening to it a little bit in that section especially, I could hear some emotional calls that were different compared to the original. The This one felt like it had a lot more weight, especially in the bigger vocal spots near the end. So just a lot of power. And while I did say earlier that it was more or less doing the same job this time around, and that's still true, I feel like they almost had to double down on the emotion this time around in order to sell it quite as well as they did in the first one. They didn't have all of the energy from all the other like synth instruments underneath it this time. So I feel like even though with the piano being a beautiful, powerful, emotional arrangement in this version, they had to up the ante for the vocals as well, just to keep everything clear. And as I said during the reaction, I at least mentioned that the song felt a little bit more like reflective in this version compared to the original. It felt like it had a little bit more emotional weight on it, but again, I'm not fully sure if that's just because of the arrangement being slightly different or because of the intent of the song being a completely different goal. The last Key Ingredient song I listened to did that same thing, where it had the same goal, but it went for a different emotional direction. And this song is very much doing that as well. So it's kind of hard to tell for me if it's supposed to be doing that specifically, or if it's just a byproduct of the rearrangement of the song that's forcing it to. But I feel like that kind of lands in the same pool anyway, so like I don't know if there's really much to say in trying to decipher what the intent was there. But enough of me trying to get into Cassie Wei's head. I feel like that fortress is so impenetrable, not even all the king's horses and all the king's men could possibly break down that gate, so I'm just gonna trust that she knew what her intent was because she's the creator, and just roll with what is definitely a beautiful variation of this song that had a lot of emotional weight and a completely different direction in my mind from the original, which I love every single time. I love hearing songs from different perspectives. So this is just like the last one, a beautiful take on this track, and I can't wait to hear more now knowing that this is going to be what I should be expecting for the rest as well. But I think that's about it, so thank you all so very much for watching. If you want to stick around to watch me get to the other Key Ingredient versions of songs I've already reacted to on this channel, you can follow me and support me and do all that. You know how to do all that. And I will see you all in the next video. Goodbye!